Last week we were talking to Conway, and he's kind of emphasizing that playing with effort over stats and stuff. And it seemed like last game kind of was the epitome of that. I mean, he didn't get in one tackle throughout the whole game, but he seemed to find a way to impact it.
Yeah, well, he impacted the first play of the game, and so that was on him because he's the one that had the heat on the quarterback. So, teams know exactly where he's at, and he's that type of player to where you better know where he's at because he can play off the edge pretty well. So he's playing well. As far as the stats aren't there for him, but he's playing well.
How nice overall was it just to get 5 turnovers and have a game like that on defense with the way you've been trying to emphasize that the last couple of games?
That felt good. We were due for that, it felt like. So to get 5, I think, felt good, and the score was also good for us on defense. Hopefully we can keep that going.
Mercy was saying that the previous drive he was in there, they ran the same route or something, and he kind of remembered that, and then he saw him line up in that again, and that's when you got the pick 6. How's his kind of football smarts or whatever, and how impressive was to hear him say that he kind of earlier in the game I just saw that coming.
He's doing a good job with him and Chance, kind of them kind of in the same spot. He gets the chance to kind of see it a little bit. So he's a smart player as well. So the way he played that, he kind of it was a slant by number 1 and number 2, and he kind of went in with number 2, and then he came off late. So yeah, it was a good play by him.
It sounds like you guys lost Dylan for a little while here. What did he bring? What will the defense miss with him in the lineup, and what does Cam Miles bring to that position?
I think they're the same type. Big bodies, physical. Same high school actually, so they've been kind of trained the same. So they're both smart, study film a lot. So hopefully it won't be a big drop off. But we will miss Dylan. He had a great camp. He had a great spring ball. He had a good fall. He was actually playing well.
He tried to walk off the field under his own power, and apparently he's got a broken ankle. I mean, he had some toughness there too, clearly.
There is some toughness. He was one. He's always been taught you never want to be down on the football field. You want to try to get off the football field. So he was trying to get off, but he was under some pain. He had a lot of pain.
With Cam, when you guys brought him in here, what did you kind of envision, at least this season, maybe his role being, and how much did you see him getting on the field, and what have you kind of seen from him, since he got here?
He's been getting better.
Spring, right?
Yeah, he's been getting better. Each week, just as far as off the field, just him understanding, what we're trying to do. It's kind of tough to come here sometimes and learn our scheme in just 1 year. So with him, you kind of saw that as weeks kind of went by, he was starting to get, in the groove a little bit more as far as our scheme. So he's going to be thrown in the fire now.
How did he play?
He played well. Yeah, he played real well when he came in. He forced a fumble, could have had an interception. So that holds true for those guys from that high school that can't catch. He had a pass breakup late in the game on a big play. Actually, I think it was a 4th down play. Yeah. So, yeah, he played well.
Were you expecting him to maybe get a year where he came in and kind of learned the system and was used a little and might not be needed a lot? Or were you thinking he could come in and play a big role right away? Or what were you seeing?
You wanted him to play a big role early, right away. That's because of what happened with injuries. I mean, you have to be too deep now with the offenses we face and them going so fast and so many plays and all that. You kind of have to have too deep. And so he was the guy that we expected to play. So he was ready.
Now with Siebold being listed, I guess, on the depth chart as the backup, how much concern is there at the depth now at safety?
We'll be fine. We can switch spots and we can rotate, and he came in and played the other night too, so we'll be fine there, we believe.
I was going to say, obviously Chance has some experience there, and Mercy's been playing well at nickel, so, I mean, is there a chance you guys could, move some guys around, I suppose?
From last year, I'm a chess player, so whatever kind of comes up to what we have to do, we can do it. My main thing when it comes to injuries is the other team don't care. They can care less about your injuries. So I don't try to harp on them as much, and we'll be ready to play, and who's ever in there, a play. I mean, it's football.
Had Had he played, outside of mop-up situation, had he played on defense until Saturday night? Or
He had played before, yes.
Yeah. Okay. How much
he had played before.
had he gotten?
I don't know exactly how much. Yeah, he had played before.
First time he played extended.
Extended.
Let's talk about Hawaii a little bit. What do they do offensively? What kind of scheme do they run? What are their strengths?
11 personnel. They'll spread you out a little bit. I think their strength is their quarterback. He can throw it. Their receivers, are well coached. I think the scheme is good. It's funny with the two coordinators being who they are. They both coach me here. Don Bailey and Tom Mason. So I know those guys pretty well, and so they'll be ready to play. On Saturday night. So yeah, the scheme is it's spread. But they'll run zone, stretch. But to me, the quarterback, he's the key. He can throw the ball down the field.
It looked like anybody could play.
Idaho State. I would say is right. It's pretty close as far as their scheme. Yeah.
I think going into last week, Matt Johns, Virginia's quarterback, had only been sacked like 3 times. You guys got to him 3 times. I think you had 7 sacks going into that game as a team. Was that a schematic adjustment? Was that effort? What led to the pressure that you guys were getting on him? I think it was effort.
It was just guys just getting after it, up front. If it was, because he, between me trying to blitz or trying to drop 8, rush 4, I was just trying, as far as the looks we were trying to give him, I was just trying to keep him off track, not actually let him get a view of, of one thing. And so, but it was a guy's effort. To me, it's always effort.
When you're watching film, they played Ohio State and Wisconsin. Which one do you take more from out of those 2 losses that they had?
You watch all of them. I watch all the games. So, to me, what I see is a team that's well coached. That to me, every game it comes down to 2 or 3 plays, and so you may see a drop here or a fumble here or a pick here that can go the other way, and then the game is totally, the score is different. Our game was the same way. If they make a catch here, make a catch there, and then it's a different game. So I watch every game. For us, and just me knowing, like I said, the coordinators. I think you throw every game out the door when it comes to who we're playing. Everybody wants to beat Boise State, and with those guys being here before, I know that they have this game circled, highlighted, and so we need to be ready to play.
Any similarities how they're coaching now when they were here?
The same. Yeah, the same. Yep.
When you think of those 2 guys, because certainly, when you were here and they were here, their last season was one of the more unique seasons that's ever been around here. When you think about those guys, what comes to mind, and what sort of memories do you have of those 2?
Mentally tough. They want their teams to be physical. That's the one thing I know about both of those guys. Don Bailey, I was with him at Montana State when he was offensive coordinator there. So I know him well. We played every day in the off season. We would play noon ball, and me and him were always on the same team. So he was competitive, and he always wanted to win. And I always wanted to win. So it was a good match. So I kind of know, his mentality is he wants to win every game. He wants to compete. He wants to get after it. So, to me, it'd be great to have our stadium sold out so we can be loud. That'll help us out tremendously on defense. So it needs to be loud for us on Saturday night.
I know we talked about it a little bit last week, but just stopping the run. You guys are number 1 in the country right now. Why has that been so successful, right? And it's been for basically 4 weeks in a row for the most part that you guys really haven't allowed too much of that down there.
Right. I think it's our front 7. When you look at Coach Caldwell, Coach Avalos, what those guys kind of bring, those 2 rooms, and the guys in those rooms, they take tremendous pride in stopping that run. I think we also feel like, if you just look at the game, like ABCs, it's easier, to hand it off to a guy and let him run with the ball. So if you just look at it from that standpoint, why would you not want to stop the run and make them have to beat you throwing the ball, right? Where it comes to timing, right? You have to have a guy run a route. You have to have a guy drop back, right? You have to have a guy throw it on time, and just those numbers, that everything needs to fit up for the pass. Now, obviously, at the same time, we want to stop that as well. But it's just easier to me to say, okay, we're only going to make you do one thing, and our key is, right, we want to stop the run.
Have you exceeded, or have they exceeded expectations in terms of stopping the run? I know Caldwell said the goal was under 2 yards per carry, and you guys are well below that. I
would never say we exceeded expectations. It could never be too good. And like I said, in this day of age, on defense, all it takes is one opponent to come in, and score some points or have a big game, and your numbers go way up or way down. So, I don't sleep much, fellas. We play well on Friday night, but, you enjoy wins for a day, and then you're on to the next opponent, and with these hurry-up offenses and, all the points being scored. I'm sitting down Saturday, and I'm watching football, and I'm getting sick watching all the points that's being scored on, good defenses. So I'm sitting up here, and I'm going, I have a day off, and I'm sick just watching what's going on across the country with coordinators that are pretty good, and they're getting some points scored on them. So to me, in today's world, as a defensive coach, you can't really, sit back and we haven't arrived yet. Every game's important. Hawaii's, they're a spread offense, and with a good quarterback that's going to want to, he's going to want to score some points on us. So we have to be ready to go.
And I know, like you said, the pride aspect of it, but you also haven't played New Mexico or Air Force. Numbers kind of skewed, like you said, depending on who you play. But
right. Thanks for reminding me about those guys.
But from that standpoint, though, you are number one right now. Is it? I know you say it doesn't mean much, but is it cool? I guess, and is it kind of motivating to try to for the guys to try to stay at number one, or do they know about that or care? Or?
They know and they care, because they want to stop. Obviously, right. Our key is to stop the run, and if we can make a team only do one thing, we'll be pretty good. But like I said, to me, I don't want these guys to think that we arrived. They're still 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, and they read the media, and they on Twitter, and they're on all this stuff, and then you have people telling them, they're great and they're number one. And like I said, all it takes is one opponent to just head up in here, and have a big day, and then that number one is gone on the drain. So to me, our challenge is to stay at number one and just keep doing that every week.
Coach Harsin was saying he thought the scores were a little misleading for Hawaii's games, and that they played better than that. And even at halftime in the 2 games they didn't score, he thought they still made some adjustments.
Right.
Do you feel like, even though those 2 road games they were scoreless, that the offense still looked better maybe than they didn't get in the end zone?
Yeah, and you have to look at who they played also. They played the number 1 team in the nation, right? And they played at Wisconsin. So those are 2 tough places to play, and they moved the ball. And so, yeah, they're a good offense.
Last one.
I see what two young guys that kind of seem to make plays when they've gotten in the game. Jabril Frazier, and then also Derek Bowles. He kind of started playing a little bit more against BYU. He's had a few nice plays over the last couple games.
Yep, they're getting better. Every week, like you said, getting those guys in the game when it actually counts, is big for us. And they've been getting each week. Each guy's been, improving on their technique and stuff like that. So yeah, they're getting better.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Marcel.
Thank you.
I was going to ask you,